on the 16 pillars that support the memorial. It was the work of a famous British architect, Edwin Lutyens, who was one of three architects who were primarily involved in the construction of memorials and cemeteries. There was him, there was Herbert Baker and Reginald Blomfield. They were the three main ones. Then there were a number of other architects working on smaller memorials and also on many of the other cemeteries. The whole site is maintained by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, which started off in 1917 as the Imperial War Graves Commission, and that had been a development of the Graves Registration Unit. This had started out as a voluntary organisation headed by a man called Fabian Ware, been started out by civilians. Fabian Ware himself was a civilian at the start of the war, and he got a bunch of friends, fairly well-off friends, with their own cars to start touring around around France in 1914, just to try and find out where men were being buried, because he wanted to ensure that British dead were given an appropriate burial and graves were properly marked. As the fighting went on, it became obvious that there were going to be huge numbers of burials to contend with, so the army took over Ware's operation, made it an official part of the army. They gave him military rank, which meant that he was then able to start using military resources to fund and to maintain his group. It also meant that his workers going around on becoming military personnel then had a certain amount of protection moving around military areas. They would mark out the cemeteries, they would try to record who was buried where, and then at the end of the war they were tasked with formalising these cemeteries, by which time the War Graves Commission had become enormous, and they were tasked with working all the way across the entire Western Front, wherever British and British Empire troops had been in battle. Also in other theatres of conflict, such as Italy, Salonika and Gallipoli, and they were tasked with commemorating the dead either with the name on their own headstone, or in the case of unidentified soldiers, that their names be on memorials to the missing, such as this one. There are 20 of these memorials to the missing in France and Belgium. This is the largest one, with over 73,000 names. The smallest one's in Zeebrugge. It's commemorating 4 men lost in an attack there in late 1918.